Now, the other major development in the Assange case, this happened today, so July 7th, 2021. The High Court has decided to grant the United States permission to appeal the extradition decision not to extradite Assange, right? So January 4th of this year, Judge Bretzer decided not to extradite Julian Assange to the United States because this would increase the risk of suicide, and it's extremely detrimental to his physical and mental well-being, right? However, she agreed with all of the political stuff, right? She agreed with the hacking, so-called hacking charge. She agreed with the espionage crap. So this is very bad, right? And the Americans, Joe Biden, the Joe Biden administration, they said, yeah, we're going to appeal the decision because we do want to extradite Assange from the UK. We want to bring him over to the US. We want him to face 175 years in jail. And today, the British High Court granted them permission to appeal. And just before I go any further, keep in mind that this decision came down on January 4th, right? Okay, again, I told you I was in the virtual court when this came down. And it says at the bottom right here, the judge ordered that he be discharged. I order the discharge of Julian Paul Assange, pursuant to Section 91.3 of the Extradition Act 2003. So that's regarding health. This was in January. We're now in July, okay? We're in July. So he's been locked up in jail for 6-7 months, just until the United States could get permission to appeal. And this is going to be dragged out again. He shouldn't even be in jail in the first place. He's a journalist. He's not a violent criminal. He didn't commit any of the things, any of the crimes they're accusing him of. This is preposterous. But not only are they keeping him in jail, they're keeping him in Belmarsh prison, in a maximum security prison, right? This is usually reserved for the worst of the worst. They send people from Al-Qaeda there. They send murderers and rapists there. What the hell is a non-violent journalist doing in that facility, or in any facility to begin with? Right? So they're keeping him there. They denied his bail. The bail hearing was on January 6th. I also covered that virtually. It was 2 days after Judge Bretzer handed down this decision. So it was not in the Old Bailey. It was in Westminster Magistrates Court. They denied him bail. They denied him his family, being with his children, being with his partner. They denied him his freedom. I mean, this is inhumane. This is barbaric cruelty, really cruelty, what they're doing to him. And so now the U.S. has been given permission to a limited appeal. So before we go any further, all right, I want to play you. Right, so here we go. So I want to play you a little clip of Stella Moris, who's Julian Assange's partner, speaking outside the High Court today, okay?
Good afternoon. The High Court delivered its decision that it will allow limited permission for the U.S. government to appeal January's decision to block Julian's extradition. That means that he's still at risk of extradition, where he faces a 175-year prison sentence, and according to the magistrate, is certain to lose his life if he's extradited. The U.S. government should have accepted the magistrate's court's decision. Instead, it keeps this case going. The case is itself falling apart. The lead witness of the U.S. Department of Justice now admits that he lied in exchange for immunity from U.S. prosecutors.
Right, so just quickly to interject, she's referring to Ziggy the hacker, right? So Torderson, that's who she's referring to.
The lawyers of Julian were spied on. Their offices were broken into. Even our 6-month-old baby was targeted while he was in the embassy. And now the High Court has limited the grounds on which they are allowed to appeal. So the case is falling apart. Merrick Garland has egg on his face because of the decision to use a witness that perjured himself in order to try to imprison Julian and keep him imprisoned. And so I'm appealing to the Biden administration to do the right thing. This appeal was taken 2 days before the Trump administration left office. And if the Biden administration is serious about respecting the rule of law, the First Amendment, and of defending global press freedom, the only thing it can do is drop this case. This case is the most vicious attack on global press freedom in history. The US government is accusing a foreign journalist, a foreign publisher who was outside the United States for publishing true information that incriminated the US military of committing war crimes. Julian is a freedom fighter. He fights for freedom from torture, freedom from illegal wars, freedom from surveillance and manipulation. And that is what the US government is criminalizing. So there's no way to stand up for the First Amendment and defend democracy at the same time as you're prosecuting and imprisoning Julian Assange. Many people don't know this, but the US government is allowed to appeal and have its costs paid by the UK taxpayer. Julian, on the other hand, has to fund his defense himself, even though he won in January. And the US government has decided to appeal that decision. Julian has to pay for his legal costs, whereas the US government is subsidized by the UK taxpayer. Every aspect of this case is profoundly unjust. Julian is being punished for doing his job as a journalist. I was able to speak to Julian about the decision, and it's mixed, because on the one hand,
so just to say a couple of things. I mean, this is absolutely incredible, right? That the UK taxpayers have to foot the bill. Wow. So UK taxpayers have to pay the United States to screw over their own courts and violate press freedoms and the UK's sovereignty, and by extension Australia's sovereignty, right? I mean, this is incredible, right? So she said that at the end, that Julian, he has to, fend for himself. He has to finance his legal fees, the lawyers, the legal team, and everything involved with that by himself. And thankfully, there are a lot of, good people around the world who donate to the WikiLeaks fund, to the legal fund, because as you can see, it's quite expensive battling the empire and defending press freedoms. And of course, the US, someone else foots the bill. I mean, this is preposterous, really. I was wondering also, half jokingly, if the UK taxpayers also have to foot the bill for the spying that went on in the Ecuadorian embassy. Are they also going to pay for that? I mean, this is preposterous, right? This is unreal. It's a shame. It's a shame that UK taxpayers are not footing, the bill the same way they for Julian Assange to be at home, the same way that they did for Abu Qatada, right? You remember this Jordanian cleric from Al-Qaeda who was also in Belmarsh prison, the exact same jail, and he's a senior figure for Al-Qaeda. He was dubbed Bin Laden's right-hand man in Europe, and he was let out of Belmarsh prison. So again, if you're a journalist, no, you have to stay in Belmarsh. But if you are an Al-Qaeda figure, sure, you can leave Belmarsh and you can go and be under house arrest, and the UK taxpayers will pay your bill. I think it was something astronomical, around £100,000 a month or something along those lines, right? And eventually they extradited him to Jordan. They crafted an entire brand new extradition treaty just to make sure that he would not be tortured in Jordan. And he got to Jordan, and he was, he went to 2 trials, found not guilty, and he's a free man now. So that's how Al-Qaeda figures are treated in the West, and this is how a journalist who exposes U.S. war crimes is treated. Quite the stark difference, right? So this is incredible that, you know, we have Siggy the hacker, or Sigurdur Thordarson, as he's called, admitting just over a week ago that he has lied. He lied about Assange, asking him to, hack the recordings of Icelandic MPs or hack into banking files or anything at all. He completely lied. And yet the UK has decided to grant the United States permission to appeal. On what grounds? I mean, this is astonishing, right? Limited permission to appeal. So I think, again, you'll have someone who's more well-versed in the law or who studied law. Please feel free to correct me. But my understanding when they say limited is that we're talking about health grounds. Because as you recall, over here, if I show you the ruling from Judge Baretzer, why did she deny Julian Assange's extradition? Why did she block it? Well, because of health grounds, right? Because rightfully, correctly, if he's extradited, there is a significant risk of suicide, right? So she did this pursuant to Section 91 of the Extradition Act, right? She's allowed to do that. However, everything else she agreed to, right? She agreed with the hacking, with the conspiracy charges. She agreed with the espionage, everything, all of it. So she basically criminalized journalism, right? And the appeal right now has to be like this. So the United States have come along and said, we want to appeal this decision. We want Julian Assange to be extradited. We want to bring him from the UK to the US. And they have to prove to the High Court that it's not true that he would have a high risk of suicide if he were extradited, right? So they could come along and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to build a 5-star prison for Assange with a swimming pool and give us Julian Assange now. And then the UK could go, well, all right, here you go. The problem with that is that not only you cannot trust the Americans, this is complete nonsense, they will never do that, but everything else is still standing and criminalizes national security journalism, criminalizes people who publish evidence of war crimes, of prisoner abuse, kidnapping. That is the problem. Do you understand? This is not being appealed. So now the defense, there's been no update as of now whether the defense will cross appeal, right? So if they do that, they would be appealing her decision to, her acceptance of all of the other charges when it comes to, the political charges, espionage, hacking, etc. So there might be a cross appeal. We don't know yet. There might be one, right? So do you see why this is such a delicate case? Do you see why this is so problematic? Do you see why this is really, really bad? Again, this decision by Baretzer, it was good for Assange, if it holds, but it's not good for journalism at all. This is very bad because she's accepted all of the bogus, trumped up nonsense. Yeah? And, it's incredible to me that this decision, her ruling, is not thrown out, because when she's accepting falsified testimonies, you have Siggy the hacker just openly admitting, I lied in my testimony. I got immunity from the Americans. I got cash from the Americans to lie. How on earth is anything in this ruling valid? What kind of a kangaroo judiciary is that? What is this? This is a farce. This is a farce. Could you imagine if this happened in another country? Could you just imagine if Syria or Iran or Russia or something did something to this degree, that they're chasing someone for 10 years and doing this crap to him? You'd never hear the end of it. And even now you see with Navalny, Navalny. No. You should be asking about this, you fucking clowns. You literally work as journalists. Well, not real ones, because they don't actually publish anything like this. So they're not concerned with people going to jail for exposing U.S. war crimes, because they never do that. They're cowards. But, they're more interested in yelling things at Putin than actually standing up to their own governments, right? I, for one, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of the British government. I'm ashamed of this. This is abysmal, and that's an understatement. So, unfortunately, this is, this decision today by the UK High Court to let the Americans appeal the extradition decision, it makes it, no mention. It doesn't take into account the fact that one of the key witnesses in the U.S. prosecution is a liar, right? And I don't know if we're ever going to see that come out, because you have to consider that it's not the only thing. Stella Moris, Julian Assange's partner, she just told you on video that their child was targeted, right? So they tried stealing the CIA. Well, we don't know if it was the CIA, but American intelligence, right? They tried stealing. They planned on stealing one of the diapers from the trash through UC Global, this security company, right? To verify if that was really Assange's kid. I mean, how sick do you have to be, honestly? Not to mention that they spied on everyone in the embassy, right? They took apart Stefano Morisi's phone. They were recording Assange's conversations with his lawyers, which is, I mean, any judge would just throw this case out the goddamn window. You violated his right to due process. There's no way he's going to have a fair trial. Just for that alone. Just for that alone. Remember with Ellsberg, the U.S. government tried breaking into a psychiatrist's office to find dirt on him? The whole case was thrown out just because of that, right? As it should be here, but it won't be. A key witness has lied. Is it going to be thrown out? It should be, but it won't be, probably, right? They spied on his lawyers. They has broken into the offices, as Stella Moris just mentioned as well. I mean, there are so many things wrong with this case. It is unbelievable. There are violations of the U.S. Constitution, British common law, the European Convention on Human Rights, the Torture Convention. You name it, they violated it. You name it, they have violated it. The United States have violated it in this case. So there's nothing legal, there's nothing fair, there's no due process here whatsoever. At all. I mean, really. The people who are still not understanding that this is an attack on press freedoms, and that this is of utmost concern to anyone who pretends to care or actually cares about democracy or liberal having a liberal democracy and having press freedoms and holding their governments accountable. They should be up in arms. They should be up in arms about everything to do with this case, the nature of the case, how the spying has gone on, the torture, psychological and mental and physical torture against Assange. It's unbelievable. And not just Assange, of course, even Chelsea Manning. It's unreal how many plot holes, how much foul play you have in this case. It's extraordinary. It's astronomical. It's a fucking embarrassment for anyone who is British or American or Swedish, or anyone who pretends to care about press freedoms and democracy. You should be up in arms about this. This is unreal. This is unbelievable. And so I honestly, I don't know what to expect. I really have no clue. Some people think, is this the end of the case? The case is falling apart, right? You had this Ziggy guy lying about the testimony, and look, 1 week later, what happened? They've given the U.S. permission to appeal. No, you see, it's not the end. Unfortunately, the UK doesn't have its own courts. They're being run by the US, right? I said this, that this might, I was talking about the Old Bailey. I said this might be a court in London in the UK, but it's the US that's holding the gavel. They're running the show. That's what's happening here. So it's very unfortunate. And I know there are some people who are hopeful because Gary McKinnon, Lori Love, they also had their extraditions blocked in the end. And I also hope that Assange's will be blocked as well. But no one should have to go through this. Do you understand? It's also the so-called process, right? Not due process, just everything that's going on. No one should have to go through this. This should not be tolerated. This should not be accepted to begin with. You should not be persecuted for 10 plus years and spend your 50th birthday in jail and your entire 40s, being persecuted because you expose war crimes. This is unacceptable. I don't tolerate this. No one should tolerate this. Okay? So this is really heartbreaking. I didn't expect any better, though, from the UK courts, unfortunately. I didn't expect anything different. What I'm looking forward to, what I'm anticipating, and I want to know about, is whether there will be a cross appeal. Again, we don't know yet, and all of the intricacies involved with that. Whether the defense launches a cross appeal. We'll see. We'll see. But in any case, these are the two major case updates now for Assange, for his persecution. A key witness for the U.S. prosecution has admitted he lied. Assange never hacked anything or asked him to hack anything. They never hacked anything together. This is all made up to smear him, to discredit him, and paint him as a computer criminal or cyber criminal as opposed to a journalist. And now the United States has been granted permission by the UK High Court to pursue an appeal against Judge Britz's decision not to extradite Assange based on health grounds. So we'll see what happens going forward. And as always, free Assange.